I'm Aaron Simmons and I love cars. My earliest memory of cars, probably when I was about 5, 6, my dad's VJ Charger and my grandfather's HJ Kingswood. Just ever since then I've loved Chargers. They're my dream cars. My car passion came from probably going to car shows when a younger age and going to a lot of speedway. Used to always go to sprint cars when I was younger and still do and still love it. Just love the noise and the smell and the racing of speedway. Just find it really nice, good fun to watch. My mum doesn't drive. Dad's owned quite a few cars. Owned a Hillman Minx, owned a VW Bug, the Charger, HD Kingswood, couple of Statesmans, VS Statesman, WH Statesman, and a random one in there, a Ford Ghia. Learning to drive, my dad taught me in the Kingswood. I found it, a very good teacher. Driving the Kingswood, I found it a bit hard at first, but really enjoyed it once I got into learning how to drive an older car. My driving test, I got on the second go, only failed on the first go because of 3-point turn. First car was HG Kingswood, Dad handed down to me. Had that for I think 3 years or something. Sold that to get a 1970 Volkswagen Beetle, owned that for 22 years. Bug, originally brought from Gundagai, was meant to be registered. Went and picked it up, got it home, took it to get registered, and it needed basically a full overhaul. We got totally ripped off. So it spent a couple of months off the road while the motor was getting done and electrics, because we drove it home with basically 2 bolts holding the motor in. Near no headlights, full locked right, only half a lock turned left. The people we ended up buying off, we ended up taking them to court. They lost their licence for life and a pretty hefty fine. Went from what was meant to be a daily driver, you fix one thing to another thing to another thing, and ended up being a full-on, basically, resto. And in about 2012, turned into a Volks hot rod. And the idea behind turning into a sort of a hot rod was just wanted something different and going to a lot of car shows. Just wanted a bit of a change. Ended up using a 44 drum as the guards at the front. Mate helped me out with all the fabrication of the brackets and everything at the front. And I did that with my late mate Jamie, who helped me tear it down a bit. So I sold it to a lovely lady up in Port Macquarie. She came in and picked it up sight unseen, and she still uses it today and loves the hell out of it. Talk to her regularly. Ute 75 HJ Belmont, originally bought in Deniliquin from Birchfields, from a guy called Barry Smith, and he owned a servo over here in town. He owned it for quite a while till he passed away in 2011, I think. His daughter hung on to it for a little while, and then I brought it 3 years ago, and since then I've put a brand new motor in it, balanced, just had to fix up a few rust spots in it, and since then I've just taken it to Bright to a couple rod runs and enjoying it. You hold him HSV. Dad brought off a guy. It was a bit rough when he got it. Only paid, I think, 4,500, 5,000 for it. Again, brought it home. A couple of things wrong with it. Dad got it fixed up, and he handed it over to me on my 30th birthday as so full ownership, because it was just his and mine. Sort of the idea when he brought it was when I was sick to sort of go to car shows together in. Yeah, it's number 12 of 46 built. I only know of another 5 or 6 in existence. Just a 5 litre, nothing too flash, but it's a nice car to drive, very nice, gets a lot of attention, and I enjoy it. Biggest road trip I've ever done is in my bug, a random trip. A mate of mine brought a car up in Newcastle, so I said, let's go tomorrow, pick it up in the bug. We left, I think, about 6 o'clock in the morning, drove to Sydney, and from Sydney basically to Newcastle and back to Sydney in one day, and then drove back to Denny the next day in the bug. That's probably the biggest road trip I've ever done, and it was fun. Because I didn't tell Mum and Dad I was leaving, rang Mum from Sydney and said, I'm in Sydney. She hit the roof, and she didn't believe me until I put my nan on the phone. Bug ran like a dream all the way, except till when I got home. I literally drove in the Denny, hit the Denny sign, and it stopped. Had a fuel blockage. So simple fix, but all the way that distance and then get home and she stopped. But yeah, no, it was a good trip. Had lots of fun on the way. So. Car accidents, I've only ever had one. It was my fault. A lady pulled out of her driveway and hit me in the back of my car. But I got blamed because I was at the giveaway sign. Although I was already through the giveaway sign, I got blamed. I had that in the HD Kingswood. Modern car hit it, totaled its front end, and I got a little crack in the tail light.
Of course.
I like Holdens probably because most families were what their parents owned. Dad's most, I know, has had Holdens growing up, and I think once I got following a bit of car racing and liking Peter Brock and Craig Lowndes, but I'm not one just set on Holden. I like anything, it's Ford, whatever. Just like a good car. But yeah, Holdens, I know, I suppose just growing up with them and like them. So. Model cars got started collecting probably in 2002. Dad brought me one for my birthday, and that sort of started off from that. Him and I then started buying cars together, model cars together, and it just sort of grew and grew and grew until we had nowhere to put them. Haven't bought any in a while, but just enjoyed model cars. I mean, they're nice to look at, and they were once cheap to collect, but not no more. I still have quite a few unset up, just because I'm unable to set them up. Still got all my Matchbox cars from when I was a kid in most of the boxes. Got a lot of Hot Wheels, and I like big on my DeLoreans, like Back to the Future, and movie cars. Yeah, I had to build a huge DeLorean from the Nudes Agents. That took me 3.5 years, I think, to build. That was quite fun, really enjoyed that, the technical side behind it, and just trying to put it all together, all the wires, and build in an actual motor, like a motor in it, and then you don't get to see it. It was quite fun to build. HG Kingswood used to always take to Turos Heads or our holidays, really enjoyed that. It was a bit of a road trip and warm at times, but it was fun. And going to the Speedway at Wagga and travelling back at 1 o'clock in the morning. Had a couple of fun times in the bug with mates, doing that, especially at Bright, loading it up, driving around, and coming back from the Merca one time, had a bit of a drag race with a mate and that, and it was fun. It's won a couple of them. Volkswagen bug, I've met a few people through that. One guy is one one of my closest mates now. He didn't even know me at the point. I just rang him up after having my operation and said, hey, do you mind taking me bug for a drive? He was very kind to do that, even though he couldn't find reverse. So my dad and him had to push it out the driveway for him to take for a ride. And yeah, we've become great mates since then, and with his family as well. Also, another great mate, she had contacted me one day and said, hey, do you own the green bug in town? And I almost didn't reply because a couple of people have done that. Yeah, and found out she owned the bug as well, and into a lot of things I'm into, and yeah, become great mates as well. So just meeting people through cars, that's been good. Cars mean a lot to me, because when I was sick in hospital, it was one thing I really enjoyed looking forward to getting out. First thing I'd do as soon as I got out, when start the bug and took it for a drive if I could. So they just relax me, I suppose, when I'm out cruising, especially going on road trips in them. I always own something classic, as long as they're around. They'll always be in my life. Petrol here, but I'll be driving them.